welcome back to another Prairie Sunset Ranch Farm Vlog. This guy's Aaron, and thank you for tuning in, my friends. Bet you can guess what we're gonna talk about today. Cow burps, farts, and manure. Kinda. In this video, we're gonna talk about beef cattle and the impact they have on climate change, if any. Then I'm gonna touch base on an idea that our federal government has. So thank you, Mr. JT, for the wonderful problem solving down in Ottawa that you're doing to make cow ranchers' lives even more hellish at times. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're a cattle rancher or you're raising livestock, you probably love doing it, but it is only not fun when the government starts digging their dirty paws into a business that they don't understand. And please remember, hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Share this video on any of your social media platforms. I will give you a second. Bingo, bango, bongo. Thank you. Let's get back to the video. Well, let's just head out to the cattle and we'll start chatting. I gotta go cut them some water, make sure everything's good. Now let's talk climate change, more specifically how these big old beef cattle impact climate change negatively, apparently. Well, it all starts out here in the pasture. Vegetation and root systems out here will absorb and store carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. 80% of cattle feed out here in Canada is basically forage, and forage carries significant carbon dioxide stores in it. Now this is where the problem lies. Essentially, these cattle are going to eat that forage and they're going to emit carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and the big one, methane gas. And yes, these are all greenhouse gas emissions. So Aaron, how much greenhouse gas emissions do these cattle account for? Let's get into that quickly. Essentially, these cattle are going to account for roughly 3 to 3.5% of greenhouse gas emissions emitted. In comparison to some other sectors or industries, it's not much. You know, if you look at the transportation sector, they're around 29%. You're looking at the electrical sector, it is around 25%. And then other big industry has 21% on the pie chart, and it goes so forth on. But that gives you a quick comparison as to the cattle's emissions compared to other sectors or industries. Now, when you're looking at all the different emissions, methane gas is a big one, and that's the one that media and everyone is focused on right now. Now, these cattle emit methane gas when digesting food, put plain and simple. Now, the world's leading nations have pledged to reduce the methane gas by 30% by the year 2030, which is quite ambitious, I say. Now, this is a huge goal to set, and obviously it comes with a whole slew of disadvantages. Don't get me mixed up. I'm not saying a reduction methane is bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but sometimes the way you go around trying to reduce that methane gas doesn't make sense. Let me know what your thoughts are on this whole topic we've been talking about, and drop it in the comment box below, and hopefully chat to you soon. Thanks. Now, they're saying there are ways for cattle to reduce their emissions by changing their ration, their feed rations, changing their diets. As you know right now, really healthy beef alternative is grass-fed beef. You know, everyone's wanting grass-fed beef because it's healthy. Yes, it's essentially healthy for the people, and I believe it's healthy for the land when you properly manage it. And when you practice regenerative farming or agricultural practices, it's definitely an ace up your sleeve. I think it's fantastic, and I really think these girls can heal land when managed properly. Now, we talked a little bit about climate change, what it is, and how these girls are thrown into the whole scheme of things. But I want to talk about my main concerns coming up here. Now, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the COP28 Summit 2023, but they have some interesting proposals brought to the table that they're going to be tackling and going ahead with. Oh, Andy, you can bet Mr. Trudeau is in it. He is in it deep and hard, and he's going to be showing us cattle guys a good time coming up in the near future, that's for sure. COP28 proposes to hand out billions of dollars of climate cash to certain nations that are willing to go with the program. Now, Loosely stated, I heard they're saying basically the leaders that can keep their country's citizens in poverty or just struggling to pay the bills, they're gonna get more money than the others. I don't know, take it as you wish, do your own research, but I thought that was quite interesting when I heard that. Now, the United Nations and United States of America, they are wanting to reduce their meat eating by 90% in the near future. But don't worry, this is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, so this will save the earth. Maybe this will allow them to pound out a few more electric vehicles with those nice big old lithium batteries. They're so easy to mine and make and store. Or those lithium graveyards full of electric vehicles, batteries that no longer are active. But let's stay on topic, Aaron. Now, we have all heard of Mr. Bill Gates, right? If you haven't, I don't know what rock you're living under, but Mr. Bill Gates has invested billions of dollars into his lab-grown protein meat science project, whatever you want to call it. But what he is producing is lab-grown synthetic proteins and meats, essentially. The FDA is working on approving, I should say, Mr. Bill Gates' science experiment, meat science experiment, whatever you want to call it. Now, what this is going to do in the long run is this is going to collapse all the small meat producers around the world, essentially, depending where this takes place. Now, when this happens, who's gonna take our place? Now, once all the small guys are out of the picture, this can be handed over to the huge or large agri corporations that are hovering around like buzzards after some roadkill. Perfect. Now the meat industry can be ran to exact specifications of the government. Fantastic. Which, don't get me wrong, is probably done as we speak anyhow. But I'm saying even more so. Now, out here in Canada, Mr. Trudeau is wanting to control our greenhouse gas emissions from these cattle by basically controlling the cow burps and manure let out of these guys. It's gonna cost us all. Pretty penny, probably. Now, what is his plan, you might be asking yourself? Well, it is as follows. Pardon me as I read this off an article, because there's a lot to spit out here. The plan at this point is to provide farmers and ranchers raising beef cattle with credits for reducing methane emissions. Those credits could be sold to other companies who need to reduce emissions but haven't done so yet. The increased cost to you won't be due to the carbon tax being applied to beef cattle, at least not yet. However, in New Zealand, they introduced a tax on beef and sheep last year to try to cut emissions. Wow, that sounds fantastic. If you're in New Zealand, I feel bad for you. Seriously, here's a hug. Hug from Canada. We might need a hug soon. Oh, and you can bet the activists really want Canada to follow suit. Of course, right? It's the right thing to do. If you're a good person, you do this. So be prepared, livestock producers, very soon in the near future. Be prepared for something to come out from Trudeau's little office of minions, because it's coming down the tube. It's confirmed by COP28. Now, when following this plan, it's going to really change livestock producers' feeding programs. It's going to increase the costs significantly. As you are changing the diets of the beef cattle, so will our pocketbooks be getting a little bit smaller, if there was anything in there to start in the first place. So get your grass-fed beef while you can, because who knows if it will be available in the near future. It really doesn't sound that way. And the crazy thing is, if the cost to the producer is going up, if you're a middle income, low middle, whatever you want to call yourself, if you're having trouble affording groceries now and proteins, just wait, it's coming down the pipe. It might not be pretty in the near future either for you, unfortunately. When I hear that coming down the tube, you can bet I'm going deer hunting. I'm filling those freezers with wild protein, because who's going to be able to afford beef? It's crazy. Now, as a producer, as a guy down in the trenches, day in, day out, this is absolutely terrifying to me. If you go to the grocery store and you shop, you should be scared, because inflation took place quite a bit this last couple of years, and it's just not going to stop. I can tell you what, I guarantee you, you're not making 48% more than you were last year, or whatever the hell the inflation rate is. It's huge though. Anyways, there's some beef to chew on. Take that to bed and let me know in the comment box below what you think about this whole thing going on. Well, much like these girls, yummy, yummy mineral and salt, I am done. I am throwing in the towel. This is Aaron signing off. We will catch you next time with an all new Prairie Sunset Ranch Farm video. Take her easy and remember folks, keep it sexy, you beasts and beastettes. Bye for now. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.